Hello, everybody, and welcome to Arsenal X, our Xbox podcast. I am here, I am your host, Jesse Douglas, and I am here with Corey Deere. How's it going, Corey?
Hello, I'm good. I cleaned my office today. I definitely do not have a fire hazard behind my TV. I set up my whole new way of streaming, and I have a lot hooked up to get ready to stream for a lot of Boss Rush stuff coming up, and it's a lot. I have if you guys don't know, I'm the host of our Nintendo podcast, and I have my SNES Classic and my NES Classic hooked up. They're both modded, so I have like 50 or 60 games on each one. I have my GameCube hooked up, my Wii U, which will also play Wii games, and N64 Virtual Console, and my Switch, and my Dreamcast and my Xbox One, all hooked up to the same TV, ready to stream. So, let me tell you, man, I'm so glad that I have a AV cable or not AV, like the what do you call them? The red, yellow, white cable adapter that hooks it into HDMI. Composite cables.
Composite, yeah.
So I have that hooked up, and yeah, it's dude. Let me tell you what, man. It's been a while since I played a standard definition game, and not gonna lie, it looks real poor on a 4K and even a 1080p TV. It's just yeah. It's interesting to see. I popped in Mario Sunshine and Blue Stinger today on standard def consoles, and it's it happens. It's a thing. So
whenever I'm playing stuff, on my Dreamcast and stuff, I still have like a big CRT TV that what would have been considered like a big screen one for its time, and I just play mine on that because I forget where, but I know I played something once on a HD TV. I played something like that, and there's a lot of things that you could run into. One, you could run into not being able to use certain controllers like the light guns and things like that. And two, a lot of times there's a noticeable lag between pushing the buttons and when they actually happen on the screen, depending on what game you get. That's why, certain stuff, if you get a converter, I feel like sometimes it might make up for it. But it's interesting going back to those and just seeing what we thought. Like my one that I always bring up is GoldenEye for N64. Like trying to play that now, it's just so bad. Like when you're playing multiplayer and you got all the different explosions going off and stuff, where it just like drops down to like a half of a frame per second. Yeah, it's so bad. And it's like, how did we play this?
I know.
How did we think that this was like great? Like when it like freezes when you try to do anything.
I know. I don't understand how we played video games back then, but it's all right. It's all right.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, when you don't know, that's all there is. It's not. You don't really notice. But.
Yeah, it's an interesting time to be going back to retro games for sure. I'll tell you that much. It's weird. Man. Plus, the GameCube controller doesn't have any buttons on it.
Yeah,
like it doesn't have clicky sticks. Like that C stick is like a terrible stick, and like it only has 3 shoulder buttons instead of 4. And if you want to do like the equivalent of Xbox with like the bumpers and the triggers to get like SSX, SSX tricky, for example, you literally can't do all of the moves because like on PlayStation or Xbox, you press all 4 of the buttons to do like the biggest tricks. It only has 3 shoulder buttons, so you literally can't do all the moves because it's short a button. So it's just, oh man, I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is like, unfortunately, a lot of the times, like Nintendo, like innovated when it came to certain things, but like they always had the trouble of coming out with something kind of almost first, and then someone else would come along and do it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because the Wii remotes were kind of like the first time that we had the motion kind of controller type things, and then eventually like PS4 did them, or PS3 I mean, or whatever had, because they had them for the PS3, didn't they?
Yeah.
Didn't they have motion controller?
Yeah, because they use them for the PSVRs now.
Yeah, but because and then that. So it was like, they came up with that, a really good idea first, but then someone always comes along and changes it and makes it a little bit better. But
yeah, I mean it's fine. I just want to, stream stuff because it's fun to stream, and I haven't been doing it, so. I've been kind of looking for ways to make myself get back in there and do it. But, yeah, man, hooking all this stuff up was not easy. I thought it was going to take me a couple of days. It still took me quite a while this morning to do it. But, yeah, it's all hooked up. It's all ready to go, maybe. So.
Let's get one of those fire extinguishers in a can and keep it on next to your desk.
Right. Oh man, good thing there's one in the kitchen.
Yeah,
which is right around the corner. So.
Well, is there anything that you've been playing that you want to talk about? Anything more that you've been playing?
I mean, I've been playing more of The Witcher. I've been playing more of played some stuff on Switch, which, not really going to talk about here because I talk enough about that on Pow Block. But I played a little bit of Madden and NBA 2K, and really that's kind of it. It's been more of like a, prepping for, because we're actually like going to start having, quote unquote business meetings for this stuff, like starting tomorrow morning. So I've been prepping notes for that kind of stuff, and because we want to do more stuff in terms of like not necessarily live shows, but like streaming stuff and being more active in our communities and stuff, and I've been doing more of that kind of stuff. And honestly, I've just been kind of going to bed kind of early and getting up kind of early and trying to work as much as I can until, this week is my first week off during this Corona crap. And, we'll see how it goes. But, that's kind of it. The Witcher is kind of taking up a lot of my time and making little kids quit on Madden since that seems to be the only people that they pair me up with. So it's always the same types of people too, where they'll pick a team with like a really fast quarterback and they'll try to run the ball with the quarterback. And like, I've gone up against it so much that I just know how to stop it. And then like they'll try to chuck up balls when they realize they can't run. They'll just tap whatever button's closest to their thumb, and they'll like, I'll just pick the ball off, and then I'll be winning like before the second half even starts. I'll be winning by like 4 touchdowns, and then they just quit.
That I've always sucked at the Madden games, because like a lot of the times it would seem like I would, I'd be watching the, do where you push the button where it kind of shows where your people are running, and then I would wait for like, try to look for a guy who's open and throw it to that person, and it seems like either my guy would never catch it or it would somehow just magically get picked off, even though the guy that was covering him was like, like 3 or 4 yards away from him. And it's it just like too many times I would have just really bad issues with those games. And so I just kind of, I had given up on, and mind you, this was during, like in the earlier years of when they were on, like some of the more earlier systems, but
Yeah.
they just never were for me. And then 2K, NFL 2K came along, and I'm really curious to see what that new 2K football game is going to be like. They've been talking about doing. It's not going to be like a Madden game, they said, but
Right.
which kind of sucks. I really wish it was. I really wish that there was some competition in that field.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But yeah, as far as for me, like I really, other than what we talked about, because that's why it's always hard, because we always talk about everything on Boss Rush, and then like we record this the next day, and it's like unless I've gotten a chance to play something beforehand, but I did end up playing today a little bit more of. I went back to State of Decay 2, and just kind of I actually started.
Is it the Juggernaut edition?
Yeah,
I heard it's like a huge, like pretty huge, substantial update.
Yeah, I think there's two other maps that you can pick from to go to do stuff in, or something like that.
Oh wow.
I don't remember exactly, but like what was really cool though is like I wanted to start a new save and just start over from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And what was really cool that I don't remember being able to do, since I had already started the game, I didn't really have to do the whole story building part that you had to do in the beginning of the game, where you kind of start off in these like this caged in like areas, and you're just kind of learning how to do all the basics, like scavenge for things and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just opt to go right to the point of where you're by the cars that are outside that first main base area that you set up shop in.
Yeah.
But what's cool is you have 3 characters that you start with, and or that you can pick to start with, kind of based around characters that you had previously had in your earlier saves. But what was cool is you can actually on all 3 characters you can hit the randomize, and you can just keep on randomizing them until you get a character that has stats that you would think would be a good starting point for all 3 of your characters. So it's kind of, I liked that part. It's kind of cool and almost worth restarting just for that kind of thing, to kind of pick some people that would be good to start with. None of them are going to be like overpowered or anything, but still, like it would help to be able to build a good decent starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And have people who are good at shooting, and are good at like medical stuff, and good at things like that. So I did that, and I kind of restarted it, and I just kind of was doing that beginning part where you search all those houses and bring in the supplies and stuff nearby, and try to get all your supply amounts to a decent amount, so they're not in the red or whatever.
Right.
So I just did that, and yeah, and it, like, I don't know, things about it feel better, but like it's those little things like that too that I think are kind of neat additions to the game.
Yeah.
And just like, because it's almost like, since these updates, it's like they're basically like, yeah, you should probably just start the game over and start from the beginning and experience it the new way, all the way through. And like I said, like the the different maps and stuff are all broken into their own separate game types, basically. So I don't know if you can just click on that and then you have to start a new, start over from that point, or if it carries your characters from your other save into that point. I don't know anything about that yet, but I'm gonna probably check that out and see, because I really loved the map in the first game.
Yeah.
Like I put a lot of hours into the first State of Decay. There's still things that I liked better in that I didn't care for as much in the second one, surprisingly. But overall, the second one I think is a better feeling game than the first one was. But I really loved that map in the first one. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. All right. So I've got a lot of.
Before we get into the news, there's a kind of a decent rumor that I don't know how much credibility is behind it, but it's from the Xbox insider community. Mm-hmm. I don't know, forums or blog or whatever. That Xbox is rumored to be purchasing SEGA and will be revealing it during their June digital event.
That would be interesting.
I mean, that would definitely appeal to the Japanese market because SEGA owns Atlas, which is Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, and
Dang, that would be.
I mean, again, I don't know how much rumor is behind it, because Xbox was rumored to be buying SEGA. Has been rumored to be buying SEGA since the original Xbox. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, because they did have such a good, they already had a well-established, friendship, during the Dreamcast, era, because they helped basically make the Dreamcast. They had a big part of.
I mean, there's a Windows logo. There's a Windows logo on the Dreamcast. So.
Yeah, is it Windows CE or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It's like a custom version for the Dreamcast online stuff.
Yeah, which, man, the online stuff for Dreamcast worked so well, and it was like, dude, it worked really well.
Why don't we get into a custom server for Phantasy Star Online there, Jesse?
Yeah, there you go. Well, you can. Like my friend Ben gave me all the information. The only hard part about it is it's just really hard to find a broadband adapter for it for less than $200 and some or whatever. They're pretty expensive. I think there was someone that started making a third party one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought I had seen something about a third party one, but I could be wrong, because for a little while there I was trying to really look into that stuff. Because the thing is what a lot of people don't really know is they're still making new games for the Dreamcast.
Like Kickstarter games and stuff. I mean, they're making their way to other platforms too, but Dreamcast is like a lead platform. I remember there was like a JRPG that was like it came out to everything eventually, but it was a JRPG that their lead platform was Dreamcast and Genesis, were the two lead platforms, and then they ended up, I think it was called like Pier Solar or something. It ended up coming to everything, but there were like limited edition like cartridges and Dreamcast discs that you could play and stuff. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I want to say, I can't remember now, it was a while ago, but I want to say, I think it's Australia, where Sega console, like the Sega Genesis, is still Brazil. Really popular there. Yeah, Brazil.
Yeah,
and so they're like making new games for it all the time.
Yeah, because the import tariffs are so high on new consoles, where like a PlayStation 4 costs like $2,000 down there, and it's I I don't know, man. I just the old Sega consoles in particular are really popular down there.
Yeah, which is cool, like that. I mean, that's awesome that there's like, still new games being made and stuff. It's insane and it's really cool because like I would love to get a hold of some of those games that are being made that are brand new. But yeah, that would be interesting though, the whole Sega thing. Yeah, I guess we'll see because like you said, it has been a rumor a couple of times throughout the years here, so we'll see. Maybe this is a case of the boy who cried wolf, and no one believes it now this time.
Yeah, but
and then it actually happened.
If Microsoft bought Sega, that screams of a studio that would be making multi-platform games. You know? I mean, I know we're going to talk about the Phil Spencer interview in a little bit, but I mean, man, that would be really interesting though if Microsoft was like, okay, we own Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, Catherine, Sonic, Skies of Arcadia. Dude, could you imagine a next-gen Skies of Arcadia?
That would be amazing.
Oh, man, now I'm just like salivating over that. Anyways.
Yeah, because that Skies of Arcadia was originally, didn't it only first come on the Dreamcast and then eventually it came other places after?
It only came to GameCube after that, as Skies of Arcadia Legends had an extra area and an extra character.
Yeah. So. Yeah, because I mean, well, with the Dreamcast kind of flopping, they're like, well, we're gonna have to put it somewhere else where other people can still, But yeah, man, I was so bummed when the Dreamcast flopped because I loved Dreamcast so much.
Yeah,
but
I got mine. I only have one controller left, sadly. I had 4, and they all broke because those controllers are so bad. Like, that was my only complaint about the Dreamcast controllers. They're so flimsy. Also, I had kind of like a temper tantrum when I was playing NBA 2K and NFL 2K, but that's a story for a different day. So I went through my fair share of PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast controllers.
Yeah, I did. I that was one thing that I was decent at least is I didn't really ever throw them, but I feel like I like during that time when I would be more like angry and stuff like that while playing games, I was playing on PC but yeah, so I don't know what just happened here because my notes just closed on me.
I bet though if you gave I don't know, if you gave a studio like Double Fine access to Sonic, how weird that would be.
Just in general though, like all of just the idea of Sega being bought. I mean, like it would make sense, but at the same time, it's just, man, it would be interesting if that did happen. Because, like you said, I mean, like just even having all those IP that they can do what they want with would be insane. Like just like not obviously I don't think they would touch ones that are already doing well for themselves like Persona and stuff. They're going to obviously let them do their thing and be good like that, but at the same time there's they've got a couple of IP that either they don't really do anything with anymore or just ones that could definitely use some kind of like improvement. Honestly, to be honest, Sonic being one of them. Like I mean, I would like to see them actually do a new Sonic, like try something new.
I mean, Sonic is kind of I don't know. an interesting character because, like, man, I don't know. It's just such a character designed to take on Mario at the time, and now, like, somehow through 20 something years of Sega failing and becoming third party and all these mascot characters coming and going, like, you think of all the ones that even Xbox owns now, like, that they're not doing anything with, like Blinks and Voodoo Vince and even that first original Xbox Oddworld game, and even now they own Psychonauts and Conquer and Banjo, and like think of all these characters they're not doing anything with, and like adding Sonic to that would be like, I don't know, are they just gonna add another platforming character to like not do anything with, or would Sonic be like the saving grace of their 2D or 3D character platformers, so
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's when they've got so many, IP that could definitely be turned into something good.
yeah.
It's like what do you pick, and what ones would actually gather interest and which ones wouldn't,
Yeah.
So
I wonder, so many people would just have like a field day with that though if Microsoft bought Sega though. Like,
it would be,
especially PlayStation fans who like are obsessed with, because Persona 5 Royal just came out and everybody is like loving it, and to take that away from PlayStation would be like, that'd be such a huge get for Xbox, because it's so big. It's so big in other countries too. Like, I don't know.
That would be interesting. It'd be like, I could see it, it'd be as big as like buying something like Capcom, even.
Yeah.
In my opinion, in a different way. But all right, so Arson News got quite a bit of stuff here for everyone. We kind of didn't get a chance to really talk about the inside Xbox and stuff last week. We also had got an amazing interview with Phil Spencer.
Yeah, that interview was awesome.
Yeah, if you get a chance, go watch it. Go watch it on YouTube. The podcast Unlocked, the IGN Xbox podcast. Because like I say that just because the full podcast, it's over an hour interview with him.
Yeah.
If you watch the YouTube version, because on the regular show, I think he just pulled like a half an hour's worth of it or something like that. I don't remember, but I just know he said something about it being shorter interview for the show.
Oh no, it was their other show, their half hour kind of YouTube show called Next Gen Console whatever.
Oh,
there's actually an extra half hour worth of interview to listen to.
Oh, okay.
And that interview is actually, it's not as good because obviously it's shorter, but like it's still like, it's still out there. It's still really awesome. Yeah. I love listening to Phil Spencer talk to, because he just talks like he does have like that executive kind of edge to him, obviously, because he has to be, but like he still just talks about the console like you and I are talking about it. I mean, obviously he knows a lot more because he's the head of Xbox and he should probably know more about the console than we do. But still, it's like really awesome to listen to him talk about it so openly, especially after PlayStation revealed their specs and stuff, and like how he kind of feels about it and everything.
Yeah. And you know what? Why don't we just we'll lead off with the Phil Spencer stuff. I was gonna do kind of talk about that last, but while we're talking about it, we might as well jump right into that.
Yeah.
Okay. So he did an interview on Podcast Unlocked, and it was super amazing, and just like everything he talked about just got me more and more excited for next gen and just the future of Xbox. So, like some of the things that I kind of picked out here to talk about that I either found interesting or amusing. was like they did bring up the stuff with the consoles, like whether they thought that they were going to be released on time and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed pretty sure that they were going to be sending the consoles out on time.
Mm-hmm.
But he did say that if for some reason that they weren't, one of the things that he was asked is, would you just do a staggered release where you only release it in certain areas? And he said that he absolutely would not do that again. And like reading about this stuff and listening to stuff from him, I didn't, and I think I may have talked about this before on Boss Rush, but I was unaware that Japan didn't have the ability to buy an Xbox One until like 9 months after it was released.
Yeah.
Which I said to Ed, I said, forget the having to have a Connect instantly in the box when you buy it, or like any of those things that people complained about. Mm-hmm. To me, like the biggest thing that I would be disappointed with the way that they do business would have been that, like, just the fact that you basically let Japan, let PlayStation and Nintendo just completely have Japan, and just completely ignore that fan base altogether. Mm-hmm. is to me was such a bad screw up on their part.
Yeah.
Like I'm really glad to hear him say that's definitely not something he would do.
Yeah.
Because like I doubt the numbers would be much higher than what they are now.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's still, every person that's in Japan that was an Xbox fan, even if it wasn't a lot of people, that's still that many people that you've just, basically, ignored and said you basically don't care about, by not worrying about having enough consoles to send there as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of sucks. So yeah, he kind of talked about that, and he kind of talked about that the only thing that we would possibly see are, and we are kind of already seeing this with PlayStation games, is possibility of games being delayed just because it's much harder to do the work at home.
Yeah.
And doing all the testing and really having to bring everything home with them. So he kind of goes into detail about some of those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he had talked about like looking to third parties, for kind of filling out their their release stuff, because he didn't feel like it really is a good idea to release games like too frequently, like on top of one another, and like you have games kind of competing with themselves and whatever. And so kind of doing it kind of the way that Nintendo does it, where they every few months they've got like a game coming out and just steadily kind of releasing stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how Switch did it when it first started. They kind of had something coming out every few months or whatever after a while.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you kind of started talking about that was really interesting is just like he asked him like straight up, he's just like, so like, how do you feel now after seeing the PS5 release of the specs and all that stuff? Like how confident do you feel about the Series X when it comes to comparing the two? And he basically just said like, oh yeah, like I felt really good after seeing that, like that I was, he was very confident. And not only in the comparing the performance, but he slid kind of in their price as well. So
Yeah.
like
It's
I
good.
mean, no price has been said yet for either console, but
Right. But it's good that he said that they can be agile on price,
yeah,
which
yeah,
makes me think that like even if the PlayStation 5 comes out at 500 that the Xbox will be the same price even if it's, you know, it's going
yeah,
to cost more because, I mean, Microsoft can eat that money in different ways, right? Like Game
yeah,
Pass and, even
hmm,
other Microsoft software that doesn't have anything to do with Xbox, they can eat that cost because they're going to make it up in other ways. Where Sony, the PlayStation brand, is kind of its own thing and they can't really eat costs anywhere, right?
hmm,
So, and they're already
hmm,
having problems keeping that cost down. So,
yeah. Yeah, and that was one of the things he said is that Microsoft is all in, on they're basically they can do what they need to do to try to get this console out to people and make it enticing, and including giving it, you know they're really working hard on trying to get new games out and things like that, which we'll kind of talk about a couple of them in the when we get to this stuff about the inside Xbox. But
right.
he also talked about, this was funny. I don't know if you had noticed it, but he talked about xCloud a little bit, and he kind of threw a jab at Stadia. He said that we would never claim that it's going to be better than playing on a PC or
Right.
playing somewhere else,
Yeah, I
which
heard some
I
of
was
that.
like, oh dang.
I mean, I think he just knows that Stadia put their foot in their mouth when they said all that.
Yeah,
Because, like,
yeah,
it's understandable though that Google's never launched a product before.
yeah,
They want it to
yeah.
be like, because, like, I know we make fun of Stadia a lot because it's Stadia, but like, they have to try to sell a product, right? And I think for all
Hmm,
intents and purposes, it does do what they claimed it does for the most part. Like, you can stream games, whatever.
hmm,
But obviously the bandwidth and the 4K stuff and everything is up to the developer. It's not exactly up to Google.
hmm,
And I think that that's where Google put their foot in their mouth. Whereas Xbox is like their dev kits for xCloud are Xbox One S
hmm,
related, so you're never going to get higher than 1080p. But when you're playing on a screen that small of your phone, or even on a monitor somewhere or something, like, it's really all you need, right? Like, you don't
hmm.
need the best as long as it plays
Yeah.
well and there's no lag. And I've seen some demos, and I know you've been using it a lot. I'm still waiting for my email from Microsoft to say, hey, you get to do it now. But after everything I've heard, like, xCloud is pretty legit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I feel that really the only reason that is because they're kind of been doing it right, where they, like they've never said that it was the full thing, and like they're still in the beta testing, and they're still trying to make sure that that it's all ironed out before they even think about saying that it's the full product that's going live.
yeah,
And like you said, like you know when we talked about this on Boss Rush too, about the whole Stadia stuff, that they just, yeah, they really should have cut things back a little bit more, and see what the devs and all that can do with the technology that they're offering first. Because if you start making all these big claims, and then these developers are having trouble getting these games to run, well, now it kind of, if you say that it depends, on what the devs are doing, and if they can get it to work, and how much time it will take for it to do the things that we're claiming that it will be able to do. Well, then it feels like you're almost throwing the devs under the bus.
yeah. Which is
And you
exactly
don't
what
you don't
Stadia
want to
did.
yeah, you don't want to do that. I mean,
No,
you're trying to get into this business.
It's harder than
where,
ever to be launching a console, right?
yeah, yeah,
And to come out and doing that, like I don't know. I hope Stadia succeeds because I think it's gonna make a lot of things better in the long run. But like, I don't know. I just think they've kind of been stumbling over themselves for a while, and it's just I don't know, man. I hope Stadia learns and gets their foot out from underneath them, and they can finally do something. So
well, because honestly, the one main thing that you need to be able to do things properly, they have plenty of, and that's money.
yeah,
All you need to do is hire someone. It's okay to not know what you're doing or not know what you're talking.
I mean, they've hired.
That's why you hire people.
They've hired people that do know what they're doing, though, right? Like Jade Raymond, Ubisoft's prize developer for a long time. Phil Harrison, who ran positions at Xbox and PlayStation. Like, they have people in position that know what they're doing. It's but like they just this is just such a new platform that they need to be extra careful, and they really haven't been. So.
Well, and I think part of it too is, like even when the Xbox One and the PS4 came out, like when it was still all about competition and and it really was still, this whole console war thing and being cutthroat and all that stuff, and things have changed quite a bit to where, like businesses are trying to compete, but they're also trying to be respectful. I mean, you have Sony working with Microsoft technology to try to work on their streaming stuff, and you've got Xbox games coming to Nintendo, and things have changed, and to me, what that Stadia launch and kind of preview thing, and when they were talking about what it was going to be, it just reminded me too much of something that I feel like maybe might be out of date now, where you're telling people these grandiose things without being able to back them up. Because that has been a thing with the release of new consoles, like almost every year in the past. So and I feel like things are just different this generation, at least with even Xbox and PS5, is they're kind of trying to really think about what they're talking about and what they're going to say about the things, and then breaking it up into, it's part of its strategy, but it feels a little bit more genuine when they're talking about what their consoles can do and stuff. So
right.
But yeah, one of the other things then that he had brought up is he talked about how strong their lineup was going to be, and that their roadmap for games has never looked better. And now, obviously that could just be PR speak, but something about the way that he said it, though, makes me think that they're not lying, that they're like fully prepared.
Well, let's talk about the things that we know of or that are rumored, right? Like, let's see: Halo Infinite, Hellblade 2, Psychonauts 2, Forza Motorsport 8, Grounded, Fable, probably Perfect Dark. Like, that's 7 games right there. Plus, like a Gears 5 patch at launch, Gears Tactics, Ninja Theory's Project Mara. There's just so, and Exile's next RPG, Obsidian's next RPG. Like, there's so much in development for Xbox that it's
Flight Simulator. Flight
Simulator. Too. Like, like we just named 10 games right off the bat that'll probably be out within the next 2 years. Like if you space them out, like you said earlier, the way that when Nintendo launched the Switch, they basically had a major either first party title or a title that was positioned to be the big game that month for what, a year, right? They had a game every month. Like they launched with Zelda, and then April was ARMS, I think. May was Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers. June was Splatoon. July was there was a game in July. August was Mario plus Rabbids, and then just went on from there. Like you just keep hitting people, especially now where like people can actually play these games without it's for a small buy-in of $15 or $10 a month with Game Pass. Like, that's something that they have a leg up on a Nintendo. Is like you get people in on these subscriptions, people are going to play all your games, right? So
well, and like he did mention something about third party, early on in the interview, like talking about, kind of letting third party kind of fill out in between, games. Now that could mean two things. That could mean just, the third party games that all consoles are getting, but that could also mean that there's third party exclusive games that they're not having to worry about, that they're just letting a third party company make a game and Microsoft saying, here you go, here's some money, for us to be able to have that exclusively on our console. Like that they're paying for the game to be made, but they're not having to worry about actually developing it in their studios, so their studios can continue to do what they're doing. Like the Mario Rabbids, and to this day, Mario Rabbids is still one of my favorite games on the Switch.
Yeah, I actually just started replaying it last week. So because I don't know, I've been just kicking around a lot of ideas, and like that game had one, and I don't know, but I've been playing that too, and like that's such a great it's such a great collaboration, and I hope like I know that Xbox is going to get different games than Switch does inherently because it's more powerful, and the developers like games that they can put on every console, right? Because that's just it's better for business to do that way. But Ubisoft, I hope that they team up with Ubisoft to do something interesting like that, because Mario plus Rabbids and even Starlink, for what it was those were two really interesting ideas. And I know Starlink came out on everything, but they made a whole Star Fox campaign for the Switch version, and it's arguably the best Star Fox game since the Nintendo 64 game. So if you could let Ubisoft work their magic on an Xbox franchise that's dormant, or you know what I mean? Like they could definitely do something interesting. Like I would have picked Perfect Dark for Ubisoft to collaborate on, like a Splinter Cell style game. But if the initiative is working on that, then I don't know. I just think that it would be really interesting to see Ubisoft's take on something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now wasn't Ubisoft the ones who did Splinter Cell?
Yeah, Ubisoft did Splinter Cell.
Yeah, so
or like if,
I mean,
if
we could still always see a new Splinter Cell.
Well, Microsoft could fund a Splinter Cell to be exclusive if they're not working on that rumored Perfect Dark game, which is rumored to be a third-person action stealth game. So which would make sense because a lot of that team came from Crystal Dynamics and Sony Santa Monica and places like that. And third-person action with some stealth elements is probably in their wheelhouse. If you've played any of the reboot Tomb Raider games, you know what to kind of probably expect from there. With instead of a Square budget, you're getting a Microsoft budget. So
yeah.
Not that those games are bad or anything. I love those games to death. But you can definitely tell there are some areas where they cut corners. And I would really love to see a Microsoft budget behind that. Yeah,
me too. Yeah, definitely. That would be great. Yeah, so he basically, yeah, he talked to, a lot more games to show. He made a joke that if they didn't talk about the newer games every time that they hit the stage, that they would be releasing games without even talking about them yet.
Hmm.
So that, that seems promising to me, that they know what they're doing when it comes to getting a good lineup going. So
Yeah.
I'm really, and then one of the other things too, is, yeah, that new Santa Monica studio or whatever, um, that he talked about, them doing something new, and like made it seem like they're doing something new and innovative with making games. And he said that they would be basically sharing with the industry and stuff, pretty soon, that they're excited to talk about and tell people, the fans and the industry as a whole, about what they're doing. So
Yeah.
that was a really interesting when he started talking about that, because then your mind starts to go, like, what is he talking about? Like, are they? Yeah, I think you had mentioned the other day on Boss Rush, are they maybe making a new engine, or like, are they, what could that be that they're doing that is so innovative they're sure that it would possibly change the industry, or surprise the industry.
Yeah. I mean,
So
I think, just the, just I think that what they're doing is just so, it's so, they're giving a lot of players options, right? They're giving
mhm,
you the Game Pass versus just buying your games outright versus buying it on Xbox or PC versus playing on your console or through XCloud. Like, there's just so many different things that they're offering players that it's so
mhm,
hard to like visualize the other two companies not at least looking at this and being like, can we do something like this? How viable is it for us to do something like this? You know, I know
mhm.
Nintendo probably won't do it because they're so. I mean, not to like, I love Nintendo as much as the next guy, but they're really behind on a lot of things. And
Well, that's the thing. Like, I love Nintendo too. Like, maybe not as much as you guys, but it's not it's not that I don't love them, but yeah, sometimes we have to be critical about things, or otherwise, just things won't change.
yeah,
Like,
and I have my problems with the Switch. Like, I think, I think the online sucks and like download speeds are terrible, and the fact that you buy a game on a cartridge and you still have to download parts of it. Now that's
yeah,
usually a
that's
lot of third party stuff, but
yeah.
it's just kind of like it's still kind of backwards, and
Hmm.
you know, I'm glad that like Microsoft is offering people options and feeling like I feel like they're really ahead this time and really giving people what they want. It's
Hmm.
Game Pass, Netflix of games, like all games, first party games, day and date, a major third party support recently, right? Like, there's just so
Hmm.
much that like I'm like afraid to buy a game because I know it's going to be on Game Pass at some point, right? Like, I told
Hmm.
you and Ed that I got Kingdom Hearts 3 like like a
Hmm.
month before it hit Game Pass, and I'm just like, oh, man, that was just like a big bummer. But at the same time, I'm like, well, it's really interesting that they're getting Japanese third party support on here with that, and
Yeah,
games like Yakuza, and
yeah.
it's just really nice to see stuff like that. So
Well, yeah, it's nice to see Phil Spencer's, hard work and stuff that he was doing, that he had been talking about for years, of like going to these places in person and talking to them about, like, being on the Xbox and being part of their, their world, because that was just kind of something that, like I talked about earlier with them, not being able to get the Xbox One in Japan for a whole 9 months after it releases.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all a really bad mess up that may not have 100% been his fault, but he definitely had to own it and had to fix that, and try to create, some friendships with people and some business deals, and I feel like these are all, all due to him doing that, putting in the effort and trying to.
They're all great moves. They're all positive, forward-thinking moves, and I love Xbox as much as the next guy, but a lot of my friends jumped ship to PlayStation 4 after playing all of our games on 360 for the longest time, and I got a PS4 at launch because they all jumped and we were all playing Destiny, and Killzone looked pretty interesting, and you know what I mean? And Xbox didn't have anything that I needed at the time. And plus, kind of the first game I was looking forward to was Titanfall, right? And I ended up playing Titanfall on my 360. Great version of that game, by the way. Blue Point is still one of the most underrated, I think, port houses out there. And it sounds a lot like Sony's probably going to snatch them up at some point, because they've done a lot of their remasters and remakes and stuff for the most recent ones. Shadow of the Colossus remake, the Uncharted collection. They've done a lot of that, but that Titanfall 360 version was amazing. I was really blown away. I played a lot of Titanfall on 360. But
I never really got to play it because it was almost like they were too afraid to promote it.
I think it came out 2 weeks after the Xbox One version did. It was a Twilight Princess type thing where, Nintendo launched Twilight Princess with the Wii, and it released on GameCube 3 weeks later because they wanted the console, the new console, to succeed with a Zelda game. And but I ended up getting an Xbox One the following year with the Master Chief Collection. I think I got the Master Chief Collection, and there's some sort of Assassin's Creed bundle. I think it came with Black Flag and Unity.
Oh yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah, that came. Was it 2 or 3 games and bundled in?
It was 2, and then I ended up getting the Master Chief Collection separately. But then, the Master Chief Collection online stuff wasn't very good. I just played through the campaigns because, those campaigns are great. And but the Xbox One first couple of years were pretty bad, and say what you want about the Xbox One and lack of exclusives or whatever, but you have to give credit to Phil Spencer. He's him and his team, and him turning it around and really correcting the ship. And a couple years ago we were talking about how Xbox is turning this giant ship, and it's going to be a couple years, and now we're finally seeing where he's taking the ship, and it's turned around and it's heading full speed right at PlayStation. It's almost like Xbox is being, I don't want to say overly aggressive, but it's to the point where you're like, okay, geez, slow down a little bit, because you were seeing so much, and PlayStation is kind of playing. It feels like PlayStation's playing defense. They haven't even shown their box yet. They just showed their controller the other day, which it's a controller. I'll just we talked enough about it on Boss Rush, but the only thing I think Sony is waiting for is to get Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima out before they show their box, because they still have a marketing cycle for PlayStation 4 games coming, whereas Xbox, they have a few games coming to Xbox One, but nothing like Halo or Gears or Hellblade or anything. So I think they're on the offensive because they don't really have a marketing cycle for the Xbox One anymore. Their marketing cycle for the Xbox Series X is gaining steam, and I can't wait to see what games they have at at E3, but whatever the June digital event is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what games they have, and I can't wait to play Gears Tactics, which is out in I think it's next Friday. It's out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to download it on
your PC
if it works. I'm having a really hard time downloading Xbox Game Pass games on my computer. I don't know what it is. I think I need to contact Microsoft support or something, but every time I download an Xbox Game Pass game, it says error unless I download it straight to the hard drive that's in the computer. But since I'm running it on a Mac through Boot Camp, I only allowed 125 gigs of the hard drive to run Windows and Windows programs.
Okay.
And I was like, well, if I get an external hard drive.
Well, I wonder though. Well, let's see so when you're running the games for Microsoft, you're signed in. You're using it as a PC, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm signed into my Xbox Live account and everything.
I wonder if it's something to do with the fact that you're running Microsoft on an Apple PC. Like maybe somehow when it formats that hard drive, that something's conflicting there, and so it wants to think that you're trying to install it onto a Mac hard drive. But you're running it in Windows
the problem is I can download it onto this hard drive, but I don't have enough space for some of these games because they're too big.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So I formatted an external drive to it, but it's still not reading the external drive like it's formatted. So I don't know.
That's what I mean is I wonder if there's something conflicting when it was formatted, because you're using a Mac, but you're running Windows on it, and so maybe there's something being messed up in the formatting of the external hard drive.
Maybe
the internal hard drive is fine.
Yeah,
but it might be that there's a special way to format the external hard drive in order for it to function the same way that the internal one does.
Yeah. Maybe.
If that makes any sense, because to me that's what it kind of sounds like, is if the issues lie only in downloading games to the external one, then there has to be some kind of miscommunication there that's happening. I'm just guessing, but
yeah.
All right, I think great. That
now all my programs are updating now. So sorry audio listeners if you're hearing the Windows alert system, but well, it's fine.
I can barely hear it on my end, but I don't know if it's directly into the thing, but that's pretty much what I had pulled from the Phil Spencer stuff. Mm-hmm. There was, again, go watch that, go listen to those interviews, because they're more than worth the time. He's, we had talked about them kind of being aggressive in what they're doing, mm-hmm. but at the same time, what's great about him is he can. It's kind of like what we see with Nintendo, they don't need to really necessarily throw the other businesses down or cut them down when they're trying to sell their product, because the more time that they just focus on what they're doing and not what other people are doing, mm-hmm. I think the better. And they I feel like that's kind of how Phil Spencer has been doing things here. Is he's going to be paying attention to what's going on in the industry as a whole, because that's part of his job. But at the same time, he's got to worry about what his company is doing that he works for before he worries about what everyone else is doing. Now, I don't know when they started working on the PS5, but it's been, he said, like 6 years that they've been working on making this new console.
Yeah, they've
And
probably been
so
I mean, I'm sure they've been working on it since the Xbox
series,
One launched, honestly.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, I'm sure they've course corrected quite a few times since then, but
yeah,
I mean, it's this console is very interesting. I'm so happy it's powerful and we're gonna get what we get out of it, and obviously you and I are getting it, as soon as possible. I mean, as soon
hmm
as we can.
yeah,
Hopefully this Corona crap will be over and everybody will be making normal amounts of money and we can save for it and yada yada whatever. But
yeah,
I would like to get it because I want to play Halo on it
yeah,
with you, and
hmm
hopefully a better version of Destiny on there, and because that's a game that you and I have been talking about going back to,
yeah.
especially now when nobody's playing it apparently.
Well, I mean, just ultimately any game, basically, if it supports like if they have upgraded things to them, basically every game should look better on it.
Yeah,
Putting in the ray tracing and things like that they'll be able to take advantage of. So
yeah,
yeah, it's yeah. There's just the new console has so much to offer. Um, that yeah, it's just it would be really hard to just say, nah, I'm not gonna get this as soon as I possibly can.
yeah,
Because it's just like we've been waiting, it feels like forever for, well, I know I've been waiting forever for an Xbox to be like super powerful
yeah,
again, like the first one was just way beyond what was out at that time. But
yeah.
um so yeah, so we'll get into some of the stuff here from the inside Xbox. All right, so Adam Brennick, I believe it is, of Obsidian, he kind of talked about Grounded, their game that they're making right now. That's the one that's kind of like the Honey I Shrunk the Kids meets like almost like Minecraft kind of stuff. And I don't know about you, but that game just looks like so much fun. And like hearing him talk, like, so he talked about them playing survival games and that they kind of wanted to make their own survival game. And so they've been playing survival games and just kind of trying to see what they could improve upon and things that they see in other survival games that they could, try to do better. And then on top of that, add their passion for having really, really good storylines, in the games as well. So,
Yeah.
and he said one of the cool things, like, this is, to me, is like one of the most important things that he said, is that they want people to, play it, and they want to hear what you think about it. They want to know what you like, what you dislike. He pretty much said that the community is really who's going to help, make this game, what they hopefully want to achieve. And, much like Sea of Thieves, and look at, look at how Sea of Thieves has been doing. Like, they've really been taking, like, criticism and things like that, and trying to make this game, Sea of Thieves, a better game, to kind of really be what people were hoping for.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really done a lot of good for them.
Yeah.
Like
I've
because not a,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, like, I've been really, like, especially because they added all that single player stuff, like you kind of mentioned, and like, I that's a game that I really want to get back into. And, speaking of Game Pass on PC, that's like the only game that installed for me on here. And like I kind of like we're talking about doing something with Game Pass games
Yeah.
for, you know, Boss Rush, and this is if I could ever get this PC crap to work, like the PC Game Pass stuff, which I think I just figured out the problem while we were recording.
Okay.
Where like you go into settings and there's a thing that said install new game, like install new games on this, you know, read your games off of this drive or whatever.
Oh,
And
okay.
I didn't do that. So
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's what I just messed up on. But anyways, yeah, Sea of Thieves, man, that's a game that I want to get back into like really bad, because I watched some Mixer streams and I watched some other, you know, things on Sea of Thieves, like the new stuff, and every time we play it, it's so much fun, and then we just like we don't play it for a couple months, and then we go back and play it for a night, and like, oh man, we should play more of this, and then we don't, and like it
Yeah.
just, that's the one sad thing about Game Pass, is like we don't have enough time to play together, but there's so many games we want to play together.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's just so much. So in like Division 2 is on Game Pass, and I'd love
Division
to go
2
back
is?
to that again. I believe it was, or no, the first one is. That's right. I think it's only the first.
I mean, I still have the second one on Xbox.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I've
me too.
I got it on during Christmas, the gold edition, when it was on sale for like $12 for everything, because, you know, I thought maybe we could all play it at some point, and we never have, and like I haven't even booted it up yet. So
Yeah, when it first came out, there was a lot of issues with it, but it's been fixed, and it's a much better game now than when it released. But unfortunately, you know, like I've said it time and time again, that unfortunately, when it comes to those kind of games, that the open world stuff, it almost never is what it's meant to be. You know, when it comes out, it usually takes a couple of months, unfortunately, for it to be really become what they intend it to be. Unfortunately, it feels like way too often. You know, it's happened with everything from Destiny to, you know, like even the Far Cry games and stuff, you know, have issues and stuff like that, and those aren't really necessarily online based, but
yeah,
anything with an open world, unfortunately, there's just so much going on that kind of messes with it. So,
yeah,
but yeah, and then the next thing the next thing I wrote about is they showed some more gameplay of the last Campfire, and the more I see of that game, I just cannot wait. It looks like such a good game.
yeah,
Like I just, it looks so awesome, and just I'm excited for that game.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so they talked a little bit more about the Series X capabilities. There was, you know, certain things that people just kind of, you know, they felt like they could maybe clarify a little bit more. They, you know, like PS5 had kind of gone on about their new 3D audio stuff and all that, and so you know, Xbox, they kind of said that they're going to have the ray tracing stuff, you know, and the 3D audio. But what's nice that the PlayStation 5 won't have, and why like, you know, they're pretty sure that it's going to be, the Xbox will be more powerful than the PS5, is things like the ray tracing and the 3D audio and like all those kind of newer tech things. They worked with, you know, with developers and stuff like that. And like a lot of developers basically were saying that one of the main issues with getting ray tracing to really, you know, be put to its potential is it needs to have its own power source for things like that. Like you can't be pulling the power away from the, you know, the main power that's powering everything else on your PC. Like as far as, you know, like the chip, the you know, certain powers of the chips and things like that. And so like they wanted to do it right and actually have a power source that will power the ray tracing and that 3D audio stuff, and then it won't be pulling power from the main, board of the console. And so that's where the a lot of these people and stuff are talking about the next Xbox being more powerful than the PS5 because because of that little change in how they made the console. It makes such a big difference. So
yeah.
And it says, and this was pretty cool. And Corey was excited and told me about it when he was watching that. So like you will be able to use your old external hard drives to store Series X games on, but you'll just need to move them to the internal storage when you want to play them.
Yeah.
And they also, obviously you'll be able to play your Xbox One games straight from that external hard drive as well. But
yeah, I was really excited when they said that because like we were all kind of wondering like how are we going to store these games because they're only offering that 1 terabyte expansion and there's only a 1 terabyte in the console. So like, and I mean, I know these games could theoretically be smaller because of the way they utilize the hard drives. So like we're still going to have pretty large games, but theoretically they could be smaller just because of the way they utilize the hard drives. But like, there's still going to be huge games, and like, especially with Game Pass and other bigger games like whatever the next Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead or Call of Duty, like those types of games are usually pretty large anyway. You don't want to have to be moving stuff off and on your hard drives. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have to be deleting stuff. And it's good to see that you can store those games on an external. So like I told you, I think there is a 12 terabyte external drive on the Microsoft Store for like $250. Which, I mean, not that you need that much space, but you could at some point, especially with going back 4 generations of Xbox now at this point. And I don't know, man. I was just really glad to hear that you could store the Series X games on a regular hard drive until you want to go play them. Which it's a lot easier to move a game than it is to download a game. So exactly. And that's kind of what I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how quickly you can move a game from one storage to the other. That in my opinion would be very key. To just something interesting to see. So that I don't know if that's something that they'll ever show us or we'll get, but that would be interesting. So one of the other things that they brought up was they have some cool updates and things that they're doing with Minecraft. Yeah.
I thought this was actually really cool. Like I like the whole education thing that they're talking about, where they've got kind of almost like puzzle solving stuff that they're adding to these created worlds, and like being able to see like different places and famous architects and stuff like that being made in the Minecraft world, and getting to go see it and just experience it through that that kind of that fun way, and experience space and things like that.
Yeah. So
I just thought it was pretty cool looking, and like the underwater stuff looked really cool. Like my problem with Minecraft isn't that I don't like it. It's just like, it's one of those things where I feel like I'm so out of the loop and like don't know what I'm doing at this point, that it doesn't really serve me to try to spend the time that I would need to make up to know what I'm doing in that game.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I've downloaded it quite a few times on various consoles. I'm like, okay, maybe this is how I get into Minecraft. Maybe this is where I get into it, and I just can't. It's just there's too much at this point, and like my nephew is like obsessed with Minecraft at this point. I'm just like, dude, I don't understand. Like, I just don't. I mean, he's 7, so I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
But
My son likes it and stuff, but honestly, he's taking after his father, and he's more into like playing Fortnite and playing like those kind of shooter games. Like he'd rather play Star Wars, Battlefront 2 or whatever.
yeah,
But I like the thing is though is I'm trying to get him to unlike me when I was like started getting really hardcore into games, like trying to get him to try different things and new stuff. And, he likes the racing games and stuff like I did too. So there's that kind of stuff. But yeah.
yeah,
It's funny because the radio show I listened to called the Free Beer and Hot Wings Show, they that like I've heard them over the years talk about their kids, getting into it, and Hot Wings talks about like he'll just usually like just I'll get the wood and just go out and get wood, and his sons will have built these big elaborate things, and he's just completely lost on how can they possibly have done this or know what they're doing.
right.
It's just it's cool though. It's like if we would have had that when we were younger, man, it would have been such a hit.
Yeah,
We had to just we had pencil and paper and draw and stuff like that for the most part. Like that's what we did to create.
right.
Or looked forward to art class in school when we get to make stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
But so the one of the next things, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but the Gears tactics, they talked about it, and it looks amazing. It just looks like such an awesome game, and just like they really took that genre of game and they really made it their own.
right.
Like they literally they built it. They talked about they built it from the ground up for PCs. So like this was not like we'll make this for Xbox and then but have like a port version of it that will release for the PC or anything like that. They literally built it from the ground up for PC, and so like that's why we've talked about this in the past, that we think that's why that's not going to come out for Xbox right away, because now they're going to have to port it. They're going to have to reverse and try to make something that will work on a controller. Because I have a feeling that this does not have controller support at all. It's just straight keyboard and mouse.
Yeah,
Because like that, the hardcore player of those type of games, like that's what they're going to play on PC. They're not going to use a controller usually. So that's them kind of following through on their saying, hey, that we really want to try to build stuff for PC gamers as well.
yeah.
And do things for them, for that fan base as well.
Yeah,
He talked about the main bad guy is Gabe Diaz, or the main character that you're playing as is Gabe Diaz, which is Kate's father.
yeah,
And Kate is obviously who you play as in the last Gears of War. And then you're going to be fighting, is it Ukon, the monster maker?
yeah,
And so, yeah, he's the guy who makes all those big, hideous creatures that the guys usually ride on, and that are just strapped with like all these massive guns all over their body that you see in the in the regular Gears of War games. So, like, he looks cool. He kind of somewhat like reminds me of like something from either Destiny or from like Star Wars.
yeah,
Or he actually kind of almost looks a little bit like the one guy that you kill in the beginning of Doom 2, or Doom Eternal, like one of these old like sorcerer type guys.
yeah.
He kind of looks a little bit somewhat like that too, but yeah, like that game just looks awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait
plain
to,
and
because I mean, like I said, I'm going to try to play it on PC, and like I I want to talk about it because I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, because I know this is obviously an Xbox podcast and it's coming to Xbox later, but I do want to talk about like what to expect when it does come to Xbox, because I'll probably play it on Xbox. I just want to try it out on this, and I'm sure mouse and keyboard is probably the preferred way to play a tactics game. So
yeah.
But I'm
Which
really...
that's the thing is, honestly, I think that's would be the first game that I would actually prefer to use my new keyboard and mouse that I got for Christmas to play it. Yeah. Honestly.
And I heard the I heard the campaign's like really long too.
Yeah,
like something like 40 hours or something ridiculous.
which is awesome for that, for that kind of game.
Yeah, especially because you're not getting any multiplayer or anything with it. It's strictly a single player game. So
yeah, man, that game, it just looks so good. And I know we basically fell in love with it the second that they showed anything of it. We were just completely blown away by the idea of it. So yeah, I had to put that on here. I know, like you said, it's for PC, but yeah, I'm hoping that someday it definitely will be an Xbox game. So. All right, so then they kind of, I just kind of wrote down some of the games that they talked about that will be coming soon to Xbox. In some cases, I think the Hotline Miami collection, I believe, is already available. I think that was available that day already. I don't remember, but I want to say that already came out. The Atomic Crops comes out May 28th, and this was that game that looked like a mix between like a farm kind of simulator game and like Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Yeah.
Like where it was like just like weird plant monsters and stuff all over, and it's like that old school Zombies Ate My Monsters kind of top view like pixelated shooter type thing. It looked cool. Like I honestly like that whole Zombies Ate My Neighbors type kind of thing back in the day. Those kind of games were always a lot of fun, and this definitely looks like it is just full of action and stuff like those kind of some of those games were back in the day.
Yeah.
And then they showed the last campfire again, and I believe that's when we actually got a big chunk of gameplay of it. And they actually showed us, kind of the beginning of the game, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Some other things that they talked about was they added some new family settings, screen time, and pilot mode for if you have like a kid that's not quite ready to play games by themselves. You can, as a parent, if you have two controllers, and you can kind of help them and be secretly helping play in the background, which is cool. Like the Switch had that, I believe.
Yeah.
When it came out and stuff, and they had these kind of things. So that's kind of, and I do feel like Xbox has been trying to be a little bit more on both sides. Have those Nintendo family friendly games that they're releasing, but at the same time still give us the good Gears of War and the Halo games. But they're making but I mean they have Rare, and Rare has been in the past was really good at doing a lot of family friendly type games and stuff. So
yeah.
And then they had a whole bunch of cool updates for Sea of Thieves, kind of like we talked about. They had now that you can have cats as pets in the game.
That's crazy. That's funny.
Yeah, and it's that new update that they're talking about is the Ships of Fortune, and it changed a whole bunch of things, and they've just really like gone crazy with really trying to make this game as interesting and enticing as possible. And like I like the whole idea of the where they had where you could like join factions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I like that the one game type where there's only one chest, and it's like it sends this big glowing blue light off of it that shoots up into the sky like a beacon.
Yeah.
So whoever has it, you can just like try to sail towards them, and it's just like a battle to try to turn it in.
Right.
Because everyone can see that you have it and where it is at all times. They just need to follow the beacon. It just looks like it would be so much fun and so chaotic. And then like on top of that, with all the things that they've added, like the fire bombs and all the crazy like things that they made for the new cannonballs and things like that. So it just seems like it would be so much fun and just complete chaos.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we kind of talked about that.
I can't wait to play that again. Like, I really do want to play that at some point soon.
Yeah, I definitely do too. Anytime I see like a preview for it or a commercial or whatever, it's just like, oh, I want to play that. And I have, in the recent, not that long ago, I did jump in it a little bit to kind of experience a few things, but I didn't really play like any of the story stuff or any of that.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Yeah, they just kind of yeah. All right, yeah, that's it for that stuff. There's a bunch more stuff that they talked about, but I just kind of wanted to pick a couple of things. I mean, we're already running at probably like over an hour, 2 hours almost.
Oh yeah, we're an hour and a half right now.
Yeah, so we'll go to the Talking X topic of the week. Okay, so during the Sea of Thieves thing, at the end of it, one of the guy that was talking about everything that was like inside the computer or whatever, he said, "Oh, by the way, there's something else I want to tell you that's a secret." He's like, "I really shouldn't be talking about this, but and then he started to like pretend like he was going to tell us something, and then you heard the character from Sea of Thieves say, no," and then shut the computer so he couldn't finish saying anything. And so I had my theories on what it could possibly be, but what do you have any ideas of like what you think this secret that they could have?
Well, they already announced that their other game, right? Ever something. The other game, their like kind of wilderness style game that looked a lot like Sea of Thieves in the woods kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would really like to see Rare return to something. I don't know. We haven't heard a lot from Battletoads recently.
Yeah.
Not that I really need to, but I would like to see them return to Conquer or Banjo.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Banjo they could really like, like give it the Mario Odyssey treatment, like really just change things up and like really do something new and different with it.
Yeah, like I mean, I know they tried to do like character platformers with like Super Lucky's Tale, and they did do that Voodoo Vents remaster that nobody remembers. But like they already have two like really established characters that could do that for them, and they could both have like a more kind of, for lack of better terms, like a South Parky feel to them, where it's just kind of like, okay, this is cartoony, but you can be a little bit, more adult with it in terms of the jokes that they're telling and some of that stuff. Like you look at something like Yooka-Laylee, and like one of the main characters' names is Trouser, and he's a snake. Like that's just funny, I mean, it's just funny. Yeah. So I mean, like and those are all ex-Rare guys. So I mean, that
Yeah.
Rare could do that too with something like Conquer. Like Conquer would
Yeah.
be like the best to do that with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they could be teasing. I hope it's something along the lines of Banjo or Conquer.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. Man, I really don't know. Because they're using Unreal, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that they're using.
Yeah.
I see. Like I see. This was my thing. Is like it's really hard to say what they're talking about. Like I took it more along the lines of like, are they talking about something that they wanted to tease about Sea of Thieves?
I mean, they could very well be doing that also.
Yeah.
Like especially if they're like, you know, ended the tease with someone from Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Cause see, like this is what I said to Ed right away. Like when I seen that, cause like, they've talked about, one of the things Phil Spencer also talks about in that interview that I kind of talked about earlier is he talks about, like that we may still see, games come to Nintendo and stuff, but it's really going to be only things that they really feel like have a place there.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think that Sea of Thieves could definitely could find a massive you know f- chunk of followers from the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, especially because
to,
like Sea of Thieves, they said it could run on pretty almost anything. Where like you could technically run it on a like a netbook at like 20 frames a second at like 540p or something ridiculous like that. Which not sure you really want to play that way, but if you need to play Sea of Thieves, you could play it that way. And I think. Stuff like Cuphead, and which I know isn't Microsoft proper, but they did publish it there. Ori is a great fit there. I think Minecraft Dungeons is going to do bonkers on Switch. Like, I think what he was talking about, like they're going to look at it. I think he said like from a game to game basis, but he wants to make sure that Xbox gamers know what to expect from Xbox. So I mean, not that we didn't know that, because I think a majority of people are gonna expect those games to be on Xbox and PC. You're never gonna see Halo or Gears on Switch, right? Like you're just not. But some of the smaller games, like I could see Rare Replay ending up on Switch, honestly, at some point. So I mean. Ed's in the chat, by the way. Hey, Ed.
Oh.
So is BCav. He's also in the chat. So, I would like to see some of those smaller games show up on Switch, although, like, for me, the Switch is really just... the Switch is my main console because I don't get a lot of TV time specifically, and when I do, I'm usually trying to catch up on shows while playing games at the same time. So, which is why I would really like xCloud to come to my phone. But I think what Phil was saying, like, expect an Xbox focus, which is basically focusing on Series X and PC, and giving you those true AAA, quadruple A experiences on platforms that can handle it. Then, we don't really need Microsoft support on Switch. I mean, it's nice, like Minecraft is nice and Cuphead is nice and Ori is nice, but I don't really need Gears or Sea of Thieves or anything. Like I said Battletoads will probably end up on Switch, a 2D side-scrolling beat 'em up. I think that's a no-brainer for Switch. But even I know In Exile wasn't owned by Microsoft, but Wasteland 2 is on Switch. There's a lot of games on there that you wouldn't really expect. So
It's I wasn't sure, but I could definitely see that being something that they did, but I at most, I mean, I'm just no matter what what it is, I'm looking forward to finding out. So
Yeah, definitely. I want the if I'm I go to Switch for like fun, simple experiences and Nintendo first party. If I'm going to be invested in a console like the Series X, I want big, meaty. I want the best looking experiences. I want those like big, huge set piece moments. I want those big sprawling RPGs. I want Halo. You know what I mean? Like I want those big experiences on Xbox.
yeah,
I know we talk a lot about Nintendo, and we are trying to steer away from that on this show specifically. But like, I love the Switch a lot, but I don't need the Xbox experience on Switch. The Switch is the Nintendo experience. I want the Xbox experience on my TV or on my computer monitor or, on xCloud when it's available. You know what I mean? Like that's where I want my Xbox experience. So like we don't need all the games to physically come over to the Switch, but we definitely aren't against xCloud being on Switch. No, I'm not either. I'm not opposed to that at all.
No.
I'm just saying, I know Microsoft is more focused on the software end of stuff these days, and they want you to play where you want to play, but also I'm sure they want to sell as many Xboxes as they can. So
well, and I think the thing is they, like Phil Spencer said right in the interview that he's constantly talking with the head of of the Nintendo, and he's talking with guys and stuff with over there all the time, and he's become friends with a bunch of people that work there, and it's the thing is it's got to be like kind of like a give and take kind of thing, and Nintendo didn't have to let them be able to sell their games over there at all, but they've got a good relationship, and that ultimately I think is why Xbox is where they are right now, is they've just taken like so much more of a positive approach to moving forward, and instead of throwing things in everyone's faces and saying, oh, look at how we do this better and we do that better than this person, and like they're just kind of worrying about what they need to do and moving forward, and it's made me a bigger fan of Microsoft or Xbox for sure over the years, of just the way they've handled things and how well they've done things. So
yeah. So I mean, look, I'm ready for the next console. I'm ready for it to,
ready to get the full potential of the TV you just bought. And
I'm getting that with the Xbox One X, right? Like, I'm playing with the 120 hertz mode on and 1440p. Like, I don't. 90% of the games I play right now anyway aren't going to be 4K. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Gears 5 and Halo 5 look outstanding in 4K, but when you put that 120 hertz mode on, especially for Halo 5, because I think right now the only game I have installed that supports it, it's so, like, it almost gives me a headache how smooth it is and like how responsive it is. It's no joke.
It's gonna be interesting this next gen. Like, just because like you said, we're already reaching those things with this hardware, and this hardware is like half the power of what the next one's going to be or whatever. So so it's gonna be crazy.
What they say, the Series X is 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X. Is that what they say?
It's like it's I think it was 2 or 3 times, but then the S, it's like 4 or 5 times more powerful than, or something like that. I know, because I think this one was a little closer, but obviously you don't have all the ray tracing and all those like new things that are really gonna, enhance the games to a whole different, area than what we know on console. So
yeah.
So I mean, and like I said, with them talking about the ray tracing and stuff like that, is even on PCs, they're not really truly getting the full potential sometimes out of the ray tracing on PCs, just because a lot of the times when people are doing all that stuff and putting those things into their PCs, they're not getting its own power and stuff like that. It's all being pulled from the same source, and so it's not really running the ray tracing to its full potential on the PCs even. So like I think that's kind of like one of those things where they talked about like doing stuff differently in this console that will eventually move into the PC world and change things.
Yeah.
And kind of be a trendsetter for that. So
yeah,
definitely it's going to be interesting. So we will end the show with that. I think we had some great conversations today.
Yeah, for sure.
Plenty more stuff to come, and I'm excited. I know you're excited. Ed's excited. He's always excited.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're gonna throw up the X. I know I didn't do it in the beginning of the show, but
that's fine.
X, because we're gonna exit the show. So you guys have a great night.
See you guys later.